thank you so much for travelling halfway across the world to come here to Macreddin Village. And as you know, Liam, our next door neighbour, he has the dairy farm that we need for 0KM. He's providing us milk for the cheese and milk for the butter and milk for the softer cheeses and milk that we need on that night. And you're here today with some of Liam's milk to show us. I think you're going to do two types of cheeses.
Two types of cheeses. Both of them going to be hard cheeses because we want to keep them. This is only, what is it, May. We want to have them ready for October. So they'll need a little bit of maturing time. And what we're doing is we're going to make two different cheeses, one probably a little bit stronger than the other. And to start off with, what we did with these two pots, we pretended that Liam's cows from next door were just being milked. So we heated the milk to body temperature, about 32 degrees. That's usually a little bit hotter, maybe even that how it comes out of the cow. So that's our first step. The second step is that we will have to add a culture. And we're going to add two different cultures, two different cheeses. One is a mesophilic starter, which can be used for all types of cheeses, soft cheese, fresh cheese, semi-hard cheese, hard cheese. So very much universal starter. We put that into the milk. One of the first tricks to learn about cheese making is that you don't allow your milk to get its own speed, but you stir it in the figure of 8. That means, because milk is quite heavy, it cannot continue moving after you've finished stirring. It'll always stay quite calm. That's our first cheese. This cheese, we're going to make this after a recipe that's used in the mountains. And it's just a little bit higher temperature. So the culture we use is called thermophilic. As the word says, it can stand higher temperatures. We'll see later on what that does to the curd.
So that Swiss
goes, yes,
style.
Exactly, yeah. Swiss and also Austria. So we're going to put that in. It's all very simple, really. No rocket science, just yet. And the second thing we'll have to add to our milk is rennet. Rennet is an enzyme that naturally occurs in the stomach of baby animals, baby mammals, I should say, calves, kids, lambs. We are using a vegetarian rennet, which I use at home in my own dairy because a lot of our customers are vegetarians. They would like to see the vegetarian rennet. It works exactly the same. Both are very concentrated liquid because it's an enzyme. So to add it to our milk, we will have to dilute it. It would be too strong to just use as a liquid. This looks like something else, but it is rennet. We're going to need a jug. And we're in these pots, just to give you an idea, we have about 15 litres each, touching to 15 litres. So what we'll need is 2.5 teaspoons each. But I'll start with this one. I add 2.5 teaspoons.
This is vegetable rennet?
This is the vegetarian rennet, yes. Yes.
Can be used.
The animal rennet is from the calf stomach. The lab has copied what's in that enzyme, so that's why we can call it vegetarian, and that's why people who eat vegetarian would be happier with it, rather than thinking that a calf needed to be killed to get the rennet.
And you've always
used vegetarian rennet, yes. Sorry, excuse me. So I just dilute this with a little bit of water, maybe 4 or 5 times as much as the rennet. And second cheesemaker trick, I want to show you another trick. This is really only to dilute this as quick as possible. So we run the rennet and the water over a spoon. And as you can see, it's a better dilution as if you were just kind of putting in a little bit of rennet. So very easy. And this now goes to sleep. So we have to leave this very quiet, not move it, until the curds have actually set, or the rennet has set the milk. We'll do the same here. Same amount of rennet, same amount of water. And then usually this would be the coffee time, as I said before. Cheesemakers need lots of
Well, we will
yeah, they need lots of
have
breaks.
coffee, although I think Liam, our farmer, is here.
Thanks.
And sorry, that's Weber. But he could
Do you want
be
to do this?
interested. Yeah, he could be interested in having a pint.
Oh,
It could be
pint in the
pint o'clock.
afternoon. Yes,
Yeah.
why not? And
Sounds
why
better,
not,
sounds
indeed?
better. Let's just get a nice spread on it. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Because the enzyme is so very strong, you want it to be quick, because it sets quick enough, and then you stir it in the figure of 8. Perfect. That's one cheesemaker sorted.
He's not good at the figure 8. However,
So that'll do, and we'll just leave these alone for a little
come
while.
back in a short while.
Then we'll come back in a short while. Now we've fast forwarded about half an hour, and now our curd should be set, and we need to know if it's at the correct thickness. And there's a test. Cheesemaker's trick number 3. You cut it straight, you turn your knife flat, you go under the cut, and this should open like a book.
oh yeah.
yes.
And if it does, we know we're ready to cut. So the size of the cutting of the curd depends on how hard you want your cheese. This one is mediocre, neither hard nor strong nor anything. So we are going to cut into this. This is actually the most exciting bit. At a distance of about 1.5 centimeters. Go all the way down, all the way up here again, all the way down. So, in fact, in this pot we have slices of milk now, if you want
Yes.
to call it that. And then we also do a crisscross cut. What we're aiming for is even pieces of curd. And there probably a lot of them will look like little cubes.
Cube-like.
Yeah, cube-like,
Yeah.
exactly. So when I've done this, I turn my knife, I go this way. So when I'm finished with this, if you can imagine it, we're ending up with lots of columns of milk sitting in the pot. This is really,
Colour
this is
just fabulous.
This is where the magic happens, really, where you actually make something liquid into something solid. And I'm still always fascinated by this
Yes.
bit. I am.
And why
So
not?
vertical cuts done, and we then move over to horizontal cuts. And I'll just guess this. I go down another 1.5 centimeters with
And
every
you can
cut
see
I
they're
make.
all rising there. And this is separating the whey from the curd.
The curd and the whey, like
Yeah.
the Miss Muffet, whatever her name is.
Look at that. Isn't that just fabulous? See that happen.
The whey is supposed to be quite clear, but greenish. That's probably the grass in
It's
it.
grass,
I would think.
I believe it's
Yeah.
grass.
So important for anybody wanting to make cheese is make sure you're being very careful with your curds, and you never allow the whey to go white. If it goes white, it means you have lost protein into your whey. It will not
Right.
go back into your cheese. So if you move too quick, and you stir this too quickly, and you notice that your whey is going white, stop. Think again. Right now we have to get rid of most of the whey. So most of the whey is on top now, and we have pitched the cheese so the cheese or the curd is sitting at the bottom. So we need your muscle to actually lift it over the cheesecloth. I'll hold the cheesecloth. Yeah. Very good. So we might get a little bit of curd now, but we kind of like it stuck together. It's not. If we went in there with a scoop now, it would probably harm some of the curds. So just slowly go on and on and on, and I will help it along with my hand rather than a scoop or a knife. So if you could take these now, or maybe Evan could actually
Evan,
do
yeah.
this,
Yeah.
and slide it into the mold of your cheese press.
Yes. So I'm taking it out.
Yeah, you can bring it over there if you like,
yeah.
because we have a little drain there.
And,
And then
I'm going to
slide it in
put
there.
this in and slide it in from
Yes.
the side. And you're
Yes.
going to hold on to the sieve there because...
There'll be more. It's just the way it should be. Marvelous. Very good. In a few minutes, we will be able to turn it, and we will then see that our cheesecloth has made a pattern on the outside of the cheese. But it'll need to drain for just a few minutes. Now you can do this with wheeling down this cheese press, or also at home you could just use weights. You know, just put weights on top of the cheese.
If you were done at home, and I used to have the figures from you or somebody else, what would be the weight?
It depends on the size of the cheese. But this cheese should use something like 3 to 5 kilos.
Right.
Overnight. And then, but also in between, if you can get up in the middle of the night, turn it over, it would be very grateful. When it's pressed enough, and usually overnight, I press them overnight, we'll take them out and we'll salt them. The salting is not really to add flavour, but to make the rind. Make the rind sturdy so that this cheese can become 3, 4, 5 months old. If we didn't give it a proper nice rind, it would be too soft. And in this particular case, that wouldn't be a good thing.
And but the salting also provides protection to the outside as well.
Yes.
And
it makes the rind quite firm so that you can wash it. And that's what we want to do.
And if we get this cheese right here, Silke, we're going to take credit here between Jeff and James and myself.
Yeah.
If it goes horribly wrong.
My fault.
Absolutely.
That's no different. That's my life. Story of my life.
But we have to make sure we turn and wash.
Yes.
So you're going to leave us instructions.
Yes. Essentially,
to do that.
I would like you to turn this now for the next hour, maybe 3 more times, and then we put more weight on, and then we turn it again this evening before it then stays overnight.